Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today we are diving into something that honestly seems like it's been just exploding lately.
Yeah,
AI,
absolutely.
artificial intelligence. And you've sent in some really, really fascinating stuff looking at, where AI is right now, but also like what it could become.
Yeah, the future potential.
And our goal today is to kind of like, I don't know, sift through all of this and pull out the most important points and look at both sides of the coin, like what's
Yeah,
exciting.
the good and the bad.
Yeah, what's maybe a little bit frightening.
Right.
But to give you listening a clearer picture of what's going on with AI.
Exactly. 'Cause this isn't just something, way off in the future.
Right.
AI is impacting us right now in ways we may not even realize.
Yeah.
And by looking at the sources you've provided, I think we can really get a good grasp on just how much AI is already a part of our lives and where it might be going.
Absolutely. And, the stuff you sent in covers so much ground. We're talking about how AI is affecting jobs. Will robots take our jobs or not?
Mm.
How it's showing up in our daily lives, in ways
Mhm.
we don't even think about it. And also, like, some pretty big questions about what it means for society.
The big picture questions.
Yeah. And even, like, way out there future stuff.
Right, like science fiction becoming reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in. And I think the first place we got to start is AI in the workplace.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is the question that always comes up.
hmm
Are robots going to take our jobs?
Will AI make us all obsolete, right?
Right. And the sources you said actually acknowledge that, this is like a top concern.
Yeah, and they give some pretty clear examples of where AI is already automating jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Think about those customer service chatbots you encounter online. More and more companies are using those for like the first line of interaction.
Right.
You don't even talk to a human anymore at first.
And, I've definitely noticed like in factories, more and more automation on production lines.
Oh, absolutely. Manufacturing is a prime example where AI and robotics are changing the game.
And even like content writing, like.
Right. AI tools that can generate text for websites,
Mm.
articles, even marketing copy.
It's a little scary.
It is, and the sources definitely point out that this is a real impact on the job market.
Okay, so it's not just like a theory anymore, it's actually happening.
Yeah, it's here.
But the interesting thing is that the sources also say that it's not just about jobs disappearing.
Right, it's not that simple.
They make this point that AI is also creating new jobs, like
Right.
a lot of new jobs.
Yeah, totally new categories of work are emerging.
So what kind of jobs are we talking about?
Well, for example, they mentioned prompt engineers, which like 10 years ago, nobody even knew what that was.
Prompt engineers.
Yeah, these are the people who are like the AI whisperers. They know how to talk to the AI models to get them to produce the best results.
I see.
Then there's AI ethicists, which is a whole other field that's just booming. Yeah. These are the folks who are grappling with the ethical implications of all this AI stuff. Like,
Right.
how do we make sure it's used responsibly? How do we avoid bias in AI systems?
Huge questions.
Yeah. And then you have the machine learning specialists,
Mm-hmm.
the people who are actually building and maintaining these complex AI systems.
So it's like on one hand, some jobs are being automated, but on the other hand,
Yeah.
brand new jobs are popping up.
It's this dynamic shift in the job market.
Okay, so for anyone listening, the key takeaway here is it's not just jobs lost versus jobs gained. It's like a whole reshaping,
Appreciate.
yeah, of what work looks like.
Right. And the sources emphasize that to thrive in this new world, we need to adapt.
Adapt.
Yeah, we need new skill sets.
Okay, so what are some of those skills that are going to be important moving forward?
Well, the sources highlight things like creativity,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to think outside the box, come up with new solutions.
Things that are hard to program into a machine,
Exactly. And then emotional intelligence.
which is like,
Yeah, being able to understand and navigate complex human emotions.
right, empathy, all that stuff.
Exactly. AI is still pretty far behind in that area.
And that makes sense.
And finally, problem solving.
Mhm.
Being able to analyze situations, identify problems, and come up with solutions.
Okay, so if we kind of connect all of this,
Yeah,
it seems like education and training are going to have to change.
right. We need to equip people with the skills to succeed in this AI-powered world.
To like stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
So for you listening, think about your own field, your own career path.
hmm
What are you seeing? Are there tasks being automated in your world?
Yeah,
Are new AI-related jobs popping up?
it's a good time to start paying attention to those trends.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about AI in the workplace now. Let's shift gears and talk about how AI is showing up in our everyday lives.
Okay?
Because it's kind of like it's creeping in everywhere,
It's everywhere.
right? In ways we might not even realize.
Yeah, it's almost like it's operating behind the scenes a lot of the time.
And the sources do a great job of pointing out just how much AI is already integrated into our daily routines.
Absolutely. Think about it. Virtual assistants,
Yeah,
like Google Assistant or Alexa.
right. I use those all the time.
You just talk to your device
Yeah.
and it responds. It helps you with stuff.
Sets timers, plays music.
Right. All powered by AI.
Then there's social media,
Oh, yeah.
the algorithms that decide what shows up in your feed.
They're constantly learning your preferences, what you engage with.
Because it can show you more of that stuff.
Exactly. And keep you scrolling.
And then smart homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thermostats that adjust the temperature automatically.
Lights that turn on and off based on your presence.
AI making our lives easier.
In theory. Right.
Right, and then all those recommendation engines,
Yeah.
like on Netflix, Spotify, Amazon.
Telling you what to watch, what to listen to, what to buy.
Yeah, because they've learned what you like.
It's all data-driven.
It's crazy when you think about it.
It is, and it's easy to get caught up in the convenience of it all. But the sources make a really important point that this convenience comes at a cost.
What do you mean?
Well, think about all the data these systems are collecting about you, your habits, your preferences, your location.
Right.
It's all being analyzed to create a very detailed profile of you.
So they know us better than we know ourselves.
In some ways, yeah, and this raises some big questions about control and privacy.
Yeah.
Like, do we really want these AI systems to have that much information about us?
That's a good question for you listening.
Yeah, where do you draw the line?
Do you feel like the benefits of, having a personalized news feed or getting good movie recommendations outweigh the potential privacy concerns?
Because one of the sources actually asks this question straight up.
Yeah.
They say, to what extent do we willingly trade our data for the perceived benefits of AI-driven services?
Makes you think.
It does. And the sources also point out something else that's kind of sneaky.
What's that?
It's not just about what the AI shows you. It's also about what it filters out.
Oh, you mean like the stuff we don't see?
Yeah, those algorithms can create these echo chambers where we're only exposed to information that aligns with our existing views.
And we might not even realize it's happening.
Right. It's this subtle but powerful way that AI can shape our understanding of the world.
Okay, so that's a really important point to consider. It's not just about what AI presents to us, it's also about what it chooses to hide.
Exactly.
So we've looked at AI in the workplace and AI in our daily lives now. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
The whole societal debate about whether AI is ultimately a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, the tool versus threat debate.
Right, and the sources you sent do a good job of presenting both sides of this argument.
They lay out the arguments for both the optimists and the pessimists.
So let's start with the optimists. What are they saying?
Well, they see AI as a tool to solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Like
Like in medicine, AI could help us develop new treatments and cures for diseases.
Oh, wow.
It could analyze huge amounts of data to find patterns that humans might miss.
That's amazing.
And in climate change, AI could help us model different scenarios and find solutions to reduce emissions.
So it could accelerate our progress on these really important issues.
Exactly. And even in areas like poverty and education, AI could help us find new ways to provide resources and opportunities.
So from that perspective, AI is like a force multiplier for human ingenuity.
Yeah, a way to amplify our ability to solve problems.
Okay, so that's the optimistic view. Now, what about the pessimists? What are their concerns?
Well, obviously, there's the concern about job displacement, which we already talked about.
Right.
But they also worry about things like the spread of misinformation.
Oh, like through deepfakes.
Exactly. AI can be used to create these incredibly realistic videos and audio recordings that are completely fake.
It's scary how easy it is to make these things now.
It is, and the potential for that to be used to manipulate people to spread propaganda is huge.
And then there's a long-term fear of AI becoming too powerful.
Yeah, the idea of superintelligent AI that surpasses human intelligence and could potentially act against our interests.
Like the movies where the robots take over.
Right, it's a common theme in science fiction. But some people believe it's a real possibility we need to be prepared for.
So it's like this balancing act, the potential for good is huge.
Yeah.
But there are also some very real risks we need to consider.
And the sources also raise another interesting question about AI and creativity.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Can AI really be creative? Or is it just mimicking human creativity?
Because we're seeing AI generate art music writing.
Right. And it can be pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, but is it truly original?
That's the debate. Some people argue that AI is just remixing existing human creations.
Or like taking elements from different sources and combining them in new ways.
Exactly. But without that spark of genuine originality that we associate with human creativity.
So is it more like a really skilled imitator than a true artist?
That's a good way to put it. And the sources suggest that, at least for now, that might be the case.
Okay, so it sounds like the sources you sent are trying to present a balanced view of AI.
Yeah, they're not saying it's all good or all bad.
They're saying it's a powerful tool and it's up to us to decide how we use it.
Exactly. And that we need to be mindful of the potential risks as we develop and deploy these technologies.
So for you listening, think about all the examples we've talked about.
Mm.
Where do you see the greatest potential for AI to be a positive force?
Yeah.
And where do you see the biggest risks?
It's a question worth pondering as we move into our final section.
The future of AI.
Yeah,
And the sources you sent touch on some pretty mind-blowing stuff.
they do. We're talking about things that sound like science fiction.
So what are some of the futuristic concepts they discuss?
Well, one that really stands out is neural interfaces.
Neural interfaces.
Yeah, like Elon Musk's Neuralink.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
The idea is to create a direct connection
Right.
between the human brain and AI.
Wow. So we could like control computers with our minds.
Potentially,
Yeah.
yeah. And could also be used to treat neurological conditions.
Okay. Like paralysis or Alzheimer's?
Exactly. It's a pretty wild concept.
It is. And then there's the whole idea of self-driving cars and smart cities.
Yeah, imagine cities where all the vehicles are autonomous.
No more traffic jams.
Right. And AI could optimize traffic flow, reduce accidents, make transportation more efficient.
That would be amazing.
And the sources also talk about AI doctors and lawyers.
AI doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, AI systems that could diagnose diseases with incredible accuracy.
Wow.
Or analyze legal cases and find precedents that human lawyers might miss.
So AI handling some of the most complex tasks in our society.
It's a possibility, and it raises some big questions about control and autonomy.
Right. Like if AI is making these decisions, who's ultimately responsible?
Yeah, and one of the sources puts it this way. They ask, as AI capabilities advance, how do we ensure that we remain in control?
It's a good question because it seems like the future of AI is approaching pretty quickly.
It is, and the sources definitely convey a sense of urgency, like
we need to be having these conversations now.
exactly, because the decisions we make today will shape the future of AI and its impact on our lives.
And they end with this question.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
It's a provocative question.
It is, because on one hand, you have all this incredible potential,
Yeah,
but on the other hand, there are some real risks.
and unknowns.
Exactly. So to wrap up our deep dive today, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've talked about how AI is impacting the way we work, how it's becoming more and more integrated into our daily lives,
Yeah.
and the big societal questions about its role and its potential.
And we've looked at some of the incredible, but also slightly unsettling possibilities for the future.
So for you listening, think about the questions we've raised today.
Yeah.
How is AI already touching your work or your daily routines?
What are your hopes and fears about its future?
Because ultimately, it's up to us
Yes.
to shape the future of AI.
To make sure it's used for good.
And the sources you sent really emphasize this idea that the impact of AI depends on how we choose to use it. So here's a final thought for you to consider as you go about your day.
Okay.
What responsibility do we have as individuals and as a society to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that benefits everyone?
Because the sources painted a pretty clear picture of the possibilities and the potential pitfalls.
Right. So it's up to us to steer AI in the right direction.
And to have those conversations now before it's too late.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI.
Yeah, this is a conversation that's just getting started.
And we'll definitely be revisiting it again in the future.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep thinking critically about the role of AI in your life.
That's it for the deep dive. See you next time.